Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ba'd. All thanks and praise are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may His peace and blessings be upon His last and final messenger, His family, His companions, and those who follow them until the end of time. Welcome to lesson number 47 of Tafsir al-Jalalayn. Alhamdulillah, in our last lesson, we were able to cover verses 20 to 25 of Surah Al-Nisa. And inshallah today we're going to start off with verse number 26. So I'm going to have our beloved student Abdul Razak start by reciting that paragraph from the Tafsir, after which I will then translate and comment. So go ahead and start us off for today, Ya Abdul Razak. Bismillah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الإمام السيوطي رحمة الله عليه: يريد الله ليبين لكم شرائع دينكم ومصالح أمركم، يهديكم سنن طرائق الذين من قبلكم من الأنبياء في التحليل والتحريم فتتبعوهم، ويتوب عليكم يرجع بكم عن معصيته التي كنتم عليها إلى طاعته، والله عليم بكم حكيم فيما دبره لكم، والله يريد أن يتوب عليكم كره ليبني عليه، ويريد الذين يتبعون الشهوات اليهود والنصارى أو المجوس أو الزناه أن تميلوا ميلا عظيما تعدلوا عن الحق بارتكاب ما حرم عليكم فتكونوا مثلهم، يريد الله أن يخفف عنكم يسهل عليكم أحكام الشرع، وخلق الإنسان ضعيفا لا يصبر عن النساء والشهوات.
So in this next verse, in verse number 26, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, يريد الله ليبين لكم ويهديكم سنن الذين من قبلكم ويتوب عليكم والله عليم حكيم. It is Allah's will to make things clear to you, guide you to the noble ways of those before you, and to turn to you in mercy. For Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. So if you remember, before this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in several verses, actually since the beginning of Surah Al-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been mentioning several legal rulings. Legal rulings related to orphans. Legal rulings related to the laws of inheritance. Legal rulings related to marriage. Which categories of women is it impermissible to engage in a marriage with? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains all of these injunctions, all of these rulings. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then explains one of the wisdoms why. One of the reasons why. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to explain to you, to clarify to you, right? To explain and clarify to you the way of life that is pleasing to Him. The way of life that is going to lead towards success not only in this world, but more importantly, in the life of the world to come. To clarify to you how to live a life that is built upon Iman, that is built upon taqwa, God consciousness, that is a moral and ethical way of life. So, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَكُمْ وَيَهْدِيَكُمْ سُنَنَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, and guide you to the noble way of those who came before you, meaning the ways of the prophets that came before. وَيَتُوبَ عَلَيْكُمْ, and Allah wants to turn graciously towards you. وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ, Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. So Imam al-Suyuti rahimahullah writes, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to explain to you, to clarify to you, شَرَائِعَ دِينِكُمْ, the legal rulings of your way of life. Shara'i'a is the plural of Sharia. Sharia we can translate as legal rulings, code, the moral, ethical, legal code of Islam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to explain and clarify to you the legal rulings of your deen. وَمَصَالِحَ أَمْرِكُمْ, and those things that will rectify and fix your affairs. وَيَهْدِيَكُمْ سُنَنَ طَرَائِقَ. The word sunan is the plural of the word sunnah. And linguistically, the word sunnah means at-tariqa, the way, the path. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to guide you. يَهْدِيَكُمْ sunana, the paths or the ways, الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, of those who came before you, مِنَ الْأَنْبِيَا, in terms of the prophets. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through this Quran is guiding us towards the ways and the paths of the prophets that came before us. في التحليل والتحريم, in terms of making things lawful and unlawful. فَتَتَّبِعُوهُم, so that we can follow in their footsteps. We can follow in the ways, in the paths of the previous prophets and messengers. وَيَتُوبَ عَلَيْكُمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to turn graciously towards you, meaning to repent, to accept our repentance. يَرْجِعَ بِكُمْ عَنْ مَعْصِيَتِهِ الَّتِي كُنْتُمْ عَلَيْهَا إِلَى طَاعَتِهِ. The way that Imam as-Suyuti rahimahullah explains what this means, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to turn graciously towards you, meaning يَرْجِعَ بِكُمْ, that He will bring you back عَنْ مَعْصِيَتِهِ الَّتِي كُنْتُمْ عَلَيْهَا, to bring you back from the disobedience you were upon, إِلَى طَاعَتِهِ, to His obedience. And that is one of the meanings of tawbah. That is one of the meanings of repentance. Because when we repent, we are coming back to the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after having disobeyed Him. Wallahu alimun bikum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing of you. Hakimun, all-wise, fima dabbarahu lakum, in terms of what He has organized for you. Right? Hakimun, all-wise, fima dabbarahu lakum, in terms of what He has organized and set in manner for you. Wallahu yuridu an yatuba alaykum. Allah repeats, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to turn graciously towards you. وَيُرِيدُ الَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ الشَّهَوَاتِ أَن تَمِيلُوا مَيْلًا عَظِيمًا. While those who follow desires want to deviate from the right path, a huge deviation. So here Imam Suyuti says, وَاللَّهُ يُرِيدُ أَن يَتُوبَ عَلَيْكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to turn graciously towards you. كَرَّرَهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has repeated the statement. لِيَبْنِيَ عَلَيْهِ. To build upon it the following statement. وَيُرِيدُ الَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ الشَّهَوَاتِ أَن تَمِيلُوا مَيْلًا عَظِيمًا. While those who follow their desires want you to deviate from the right path, a huge deviation. وَيُرِيدُ الَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ الشَّهَوَاتِ. And those who follow their desires want. And who are those that follow their desires? Here Imam as-Suyuti writes, Al-Yahud wal-Nasara أو المجوس أو الزنات. It's referring to the Yahud, the Nasara, the Majus, or those who engage in zina. Or it could be anyone who wants to take you away from the truth. Anyone who wants to cause you to move away from the straight path. أن تميلوا ميلا عظيما. So anyone who follows their desires would want the people of the truth, would want the people of Iman to deviate from the right path, a huge deviation. Right? أن تميلوا ميلا عظيما تعدلوا عن الحق. They want you to move away from the truth. بارتكاب ما حرم عليكم. By engaging in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited for you. بارتكاب, by doing, by engaging, by undertaking ما حرم عليكم. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made unlawful upon you. فَتَكُونُوا مِثْلَهُمْ. So that you would be similar to them. So that you would be like them. Right? They want you to deviate from the straight path, and they want you to engage in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made unlawful, so that you could be just like them. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. And it is Allah's will to lighten your burdens. For mankind or humankind was created weak. Allah intends to make things easy upon you. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ. And that is another beautiful aspect of our deen. As the Prophet ﷺ explains, ad-deenu yusrun, that this deen is easy. It is easy to follow. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends ease for us. He wants to lighten our burden. And there is immense wisdom in mentioning this after highlighting all of these legal rulings and injunctions. Because someone might think that this is too difficult. This is too hard. How am I as a human being, خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, who has been created weak, how am I going to follow all of these legal rulings? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarifies that He's not giving us these legal rulings to make life burdensome, to make life difficult. Rather, they're being put in place to make things easy upon us. And part of that is that it is easy for every single believer to adhere to the guidance and the laws mentioned and highlighted in the Quran. Yes, it requires effort, it requires some sort of struggle, it requires sabr, but it is within the ability of every single believer to live by it. So يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ يُسَهِّلَ عَلَيْكُمْ أَحْكَامَ الشَّرْعِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to make the legal rulings easy upon you. وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. And then Allah sort of indicates towards the reason behind that. Why have these legal rulings been made easy for us? Because mankind has been created weak. لا يصبر عن النساء والشهوات. They don't have patience when it comes to the opposite gender, right? For men, they don't have patience, they don't have sabr when it comes to women, والشهوات, and following their desires. So again, this statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as all of his statements, is full of immense divine wisdom and beauty. So all of these injunctions, all of these legal rulings, all of these ahkam, outwardly might seem burdensome for someone. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is highlighting that no, these are not burdensome. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills to lighten your burden. Allah intends to make things easy upon you. And it is from the beauty of our deen that it is easy. It is something we can follow. And actually, it's very important to understand what that means. What does it mean when we say ad-deen yusrun? The Prophet ﷺ says this religion is easy. What does that mean? Because easy is a very subjective term. What's easy for me might be very difficult for someone else. And what's easy for someone else might be very difficult for me. So when it comes to the deen being easy, what that means is every single one of us has the ability, has the capability to follow it. We have the internal qualities and the internal strength required to live our lives according to the divine laws and the divine guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as clarified and highlighted in the Quran and as taught to us by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alright, so go ahead and read the next page for us, tilawatan, followed by the first paragraph. Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. الله يريد أن يتوب عليكم ويريد الذين يتبعون الشهوات أن تميلوا ميلا عظيما. يريد الله أن يخفف عنكم وخلق الإنسان ضعيفا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل إلا أن تكون تجارة عن تراض منكم ولا تقتلوا أنفسكم إن الله كان بكم رحيما. ومن يفعل ذلك عدوانا وظلما فسوف نصليه نارا كان ذلك على الله يسيرا. إن تجتنبوا كبائر ما تنهون عنه نكفر عنكم سيئاتكم وندخلكم مدخلا كريما. ولا تتمنوا ما فضل الله به بعضكم على بعض للرجال نصيب مما اكتسبوا وللنساء نصيب مما اكتسبن واسألوا الله من فضله إن الله كان بكل شيء عليما. ولكل جعلنا موالي مما ترك الوالدان والأقربون والذين عقدت أيمانكم فآتوهم نصيبهم إن الله كان على كل شيء شهيدا. قال رحمه الله: يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل بالحرام في الشرع كالربا والغصب إلا لكن أن تكون تقع تجارة. وفي قراءة بالنصب أي تكون الأموال أموال تجارة صادرة عن تراض منكم وطيب نفس فلكم أن تأكلوها ولا تقتلوا أنفسكم بارتكاب ما يؤدي إلى هلاكها أيا كان في الدنيا والآخرة بقرينة إن الله كان بكم رحيما في منعه لكم من ذلك. ومن يفعل ذلك أي ما نهى عن عدوانا تجاوزا للحلال حال وظلم تأكيد فسوف نصليه ندخله نارا يحترق فيها وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا هينا. أن تجتنبوا كبائر ما تنهون عنه وهي ما ورد عليها وعيد كالقتل والزنا والسرقة. وعن ابن عباس هي إلى 700 أقرب. نكفر عنكم سيئاتكم الصغائر بالطاعات وندخلكم مدخلا بضم الميم وفتحها أي إدخالا أو موضعها كريمة هو الجنة.
In this next verse, verse number 29, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now mentions some rulings related to financial transactions, particularly the unlawful nature of consuming wealth through unlawful means. That it is an absolute prohibition to earn money or to engage in any type of transactions that are impermissible. So the way we earn our money has to be through lawful means. We cannot earn our income, we cannot earn our livelihood by being dishonest, by cheating, by lying, by stealing, etc. That the way we earn money also is under the divine guidance and the divine rulings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And seeking a permissible source of income, seeking a permissible source of livelihood is also an obligation upon us. That طَلَبُ كَسْبِ الْحَلَالِ فَرِيضَةٌ بَعْدَ الْفَرِيضَةِ. That seeking a lawful source of income is an obligation after other obligations. Meaning just like we have to pray and fast in the month of Ramadan, similarly, if we are the head of a household, or if we have to take care of ourselves or to take care of others, then earning a lawful source of income is also an obligation upon us. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ إِلَّا أَن تَكُونَ تِجَارَةً عَنْ تَرَادٍ مِّنْكُمْ. That, O you who believe, do not devour, do not consume one another's wealth illegally, but rather trade by mutual consent. وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. And don't kill each other, or it could also mean, and don't kill yourselves. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا. Surely Allah is ever merciful to you. So here Imam al-Suyuti rahimahullah, he writes, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. O you who have believed, O you who believe in the existence and oneness of Allah, O you who believe in the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, O you who believe in the last day, لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل. Do not devour each other's property by false means. Don't consume one another's wealth illegally, unlawfully. بالحرام في الشرع. So here Imam al-Suyuti himself clarifies, what does it mean بالباطل? Because batil means falsehood, right? Batil means invalid. So here you can translate it as, do not devour each other's property by false means, right? Illegally. And here he clarifies what that means. بالحرام في الشرع. Do not consume, do not devour each other's wealth through what is haram according to the Sharia. كالربا, like interest, والغصب, usurpation, and any other unlawful way of earning money. إلا لكن أن تكون تقع تجارة عن تراض منكم. Right? Unless it is trade conducted with your mutual consent. Right? Unless it is trade by mutual consent. So إلا. So this is the istithna. This is an exception. That don't consume each other's wealth unlawfully. Except, meaning you can consume each other's wealth, أن تكون تجارة عن تراض منكم. That if it's trade by mutual consent. So إلا لكن أن تكون تقع تجارة. So here Imam al-Suyuti rahimahullah, he's using a different qira'ah, where the word tijara is recited in the state of rafa'. It's in the grammatical state of rafa', it is marfu', tijaratun. وفي قراءة بالنصب. In another qira'ah, it's recited being in the state of nasab with a fatha, tijaratan, which is the qira'ah we are accustomed to. تكون الأموال أموال تجارة. That the wealth should be wealth that comes from trade, that comes from business. صادرة عن تراض منكم. And that trade and business came from mutual consent. وطيب نفس, willingly. فلكم أن تأكلوها. In that case, you can consume it. That is a lawful way of earning money. That is a lawful means of consuming money. If it's done through trade by mutual consent. وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. It can be understood and translated in two ways. Don't kill each other unlawfully, or don't kill yourselves. بِارْتِكَابِ مَا يُؤَدِّي إِلَى هَلَاكِهَا. By doing something that will lead towards its destruction. Don't engage in anything that will lead to your own personal destruction, أيًّا كان, however it may be, and whatever it may be, في الدنيا أو الآخرة, whether it's in this world or in the hereafter. بقرينة, right, with the indication, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا. Truly Allah is ever merciful to you. or truly Allah has been very merciful to you. في منعه لكم من ذلك, by prohibiting you from doing so, by prohibiting you from killing yourself and leading yourself to destruction, and by prohibiting you from consuming wealth unlawfully. وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ عُدْوَانًا وَظُلْمًا فَسَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِ نَارًا وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا. And whoever does this sinfully and unjustly, whoever does this out of aggression, عُدْوَانًا, right, sinfully, وَظُلْمًا, and unjustly, فَسَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِ نَارًا, we will enter them into the fire. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا, and that is easy for Allah. So Imam Suyuti rahimahullah says, وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ أي مَا نَهَى عَنْهُ, whoever does that, meaning what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited, عُدْوَانًا, out of enmity, out of aggression, تَجَاوُزًا لِلْحَلَالِ, right, tajawuzan, crossing over what is permissible. Halun, he says, grammatically speaking, this is a circumstantial adverb. Well, dhulman is ta'kid. It is emphasizing udwana. Right? They are crossing the boundaries. They are engaging in what is prohibited out of aggression, sinfully, wrongfully. فَسَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِ نُدْخِلُهُ نَارًا, then we will soon enter them into a fire. And he highlights that the verb أصلا يصلي here means أدخل يدخل, means to enter. نارا يحترق فيها, in which they will burn. وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا, and that is easy upon Allah. هينا, easy. يعني هينا and يسيرا are synonymous. إن تجتنبوا كبائر ما تنهون عنه نكفر عنكم سيئاتكم وندخلكم مدخلا كريما. If you avoid the major sins forbidden to you, we will absolve you of your lesser misdeeds and admit you into a place of honor. If you abstain from the major sins out of what you have been forbidden from, we shall write off your minor sins and shall admit you to a noble entrance. So, in tajtanibu, if you avoid, if you stay away from, kaba'ira, the major sins, ma tunhawna an, of what you have been prohibited from. Right? If you avoid and stay away from the major sins, ma tunhawna an, of what you have been forbidden from, وَهِيَ مَا وَرَدَ عَلَيْهَا وَعِيدٌ, then Imam al-Suyuti rahimahullah very briefly gives a definition of what a kabira is. So the majority of scholars, they classify and categorize sins into two broad categories. You have al-kaba'ir, which is the plural of the word kabira, and you have as-sagha'ir, which is the plural of the word saghira. Major sins, minor sins. And he says a major sin is مَا وَرَدَ عَلَيْهَا وَعِيدٌ, any sin regarding which a threat has been mentioned. Any sin that has a threat associated with it. كَالْقَتْلِ, like murder. وَالزِّنَا, unlawful sexual intercourse. وَالسَّرِقَةِ, a specific type of theft. وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما هي إلى 700 أقرب, that there's close to 700 major sins. نكفر عنكم سيئاتكم, if you avoid and totally stay away from major sins, we will expiate, we will write off your minor sins. We will write off and excuse and forgive your minor sins. الصغائر بالطاعات, your minor sins through acts of obedience. وندخلكم مدخلا كريما, and shall admit you to a noble entrance, or we shall admit you into a place of honor. So here he says the word mudkhalan can be recited in two ways. بضم الميم وفتحها, يعني it could be مدخلا with a dhamma on the meme, and it could be مدخلا with a fatha on the meme. A idkhalan, right? If it's with a dhamma on the meme, it's like a entering you, admitting you, right? Admitting you into a noble place. Karima. أو موضعا, right? If it's madkhala with a fatha, then it means an entrance. So madkhalan kariman, a noble entrance, or it could be a place, mudkhala, right? A noble place of honor, a place of honor. وهو الجنة. And regardless of how you recite it, mudkhalan or madkhalan, karima, they're both referring to Jannah, they're both referring to paradise. Go ahead and read the next paragraph. Bismillah.
قال رحمه الله: ولا تتمنوا ما فضل الله به بعضكم على بعض من جهة الدنيا أو الدين لئلا يؤدي إلى التحاسد والتباغض. للرجال نصيب ثواب مما اكتسبوا بسبب ما عملوا من الجهاد وغيره، وللنساء نصيب مما اكتسبن من طاعة أزواجهن وحفظ فروجهن. نزل لما قالت أم سلمة: ليتنا كنا رجالا فجاهدنا وكان لنا مثل أجر الرجال. واسألوا بهمزة ودونها الله من فضله ما احتججتم إليه يعطيكم، إن الله كان بكل شيء عليما. ومنه محل الفضل. وسؤالكم ولكل من الرجال والنساء جعلنا موالي عصبة يعطون مما ترك الوالدان والأقربون لهم من المال، والذين عاقدت بألف ودونها أيمانكم جمع يمين بمعنى القسم أو اليد، أي الحلفاء الذين عاهدتموهم في الجاهلية على النصرة والإرث، فآتوهم الآن نصيبهم حظهم من الميراث وهو السدس، إن الله كان على كل شيء شهيدا مطلعا. ومنه حالكم، وهذا منسوخ بقوله: وأولو الأرحام بعضهم أولى ببعض.
In this next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضَكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. And do not crave what Allah has given some of you over others. لِلرِّجَالِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا اكْتَسَبُوا وَلِلنِّسَاءِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا اكْتَسَبْنَا. Men will be rewarded according to their deeds, and women equally according to theirs. Each will be rewarded according to their deeds. وَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Rather ask Allah for His bounties, or ask Allah from His grace. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمًا. Surely Allah has perfect knowledge of all things. So here, Imam al-Suyuti rahimahullah, he writes, وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضَكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. And do not crave, do not covet something in which Allah has made some of you superior to others. Do not crave what Allah has given some of you over others. لا تتمنوا ما للناس. Right? Don't covet and don't desire what people have. وَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ خَزَائِنِهِ الَّتِي لَا تَنْفَدْ. Rather ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from His infinite bounty and grace that never comes to an end. And don't be envious and jealous of other people's material possessions and material status and whatever else it may be. Rather ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from His infinite bounty and grace. He says, مِنْ جِهَةِ الدُّنْيَا أَوِ الدِّينِ. Whether this is from things related to this world or even things related to the deen. لِأَلَّا يُؤَدِّيَ إِلَى التَّحَاسُدِ وَالتَّبَاغُضِ. So that it does not lead towards envy and hatred. And both of these things are considered to be huge blameworthy qualities and blameworthy characteristics to have. Hasad is one of the most destructive diseases of the heart. We are not supposed to hate each other. We're not supposed to have envy and jealousy for each other. And one of the things that leads towards envy and jealousy and hatred is desiring and coveting and wanting what other people have that perhaps you don't. So وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضَكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Do not crave, do not covet what Allah has given some of you over others. Why? لِأَلَّا يُؤَدِّيَ إِلَى التَّحَاسُدِ وَالتَّبَاغُضِ. So that it doesn't lead towards envy and hatred. لِلرِّجَالِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا اكْتَسَبُوا. Men will be rewarded according to their deeds. For men, there is a share of what they earned. So لِلرِّجَالِ نَصِيبٌ. And here it says nasib doesn't mean hadh, it means thawab. For men is reward مِمَّا اكْتَسَبُوا, of what they have earned. بِسَبَبِ مَا عَمِلُوا مِنَ الْجِهَادِ وَغَيْرِهِ. Or because of what they have done in terms of jihad and other things. They will be rewarded for their deeds. وَلِلنِّسَاءِ نَصِيبٌ مِّمَّا اكْتَسَبْنَا. And women will receive reward for what they have earned. مِنْ طَاعَةِ أَزْوَاجِهِنَّ. In terms of obeying their husbands. وَحِفْظِ فُرُوجِهِنَّ. And safeguarding and protecting their private parts and remaining chaste. نَزَلَ لَمَّا قَالَتْ أُمُّ سَلَمَةَ. Then Imam al-Suyuti rahimahullah highlights the background, the context in which this verse was revealed. The sababun nuzul. He says this verse was revealed when Salama radiyallahu anha said, لَيْتَنَا كُنَّا رِجَالًا فَجَاهَدْنَا. Oh, if only we were men, so that we could participate in jihad as well. That there's so much virtue and reward for jihad, and mostly men only participate in jihad. If we were men, we could do the same thing and get the same reward. So this is an example of craving and desiring and wanting what Allah has given someone else in terms of deen, in terms of religion. وَكَانَ لَنَا مِثْلُ أَجْرِ الرِّجَالِ, and we can then have similar reward as men. So Allah says, no, men will get reward for what they do, and women will get reward for what they do. And each of them may have different responsibilities because of their differences in gender. That, differences between the genders are a reality, they are a truth. Men and women are different. لَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى, as we covered in Surah Al-Baqarah. وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى, Surah Ali Imran, عفوا. As we covered in Surah Ali Imran, and the man or the male is not like the female. So here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His infinite wisdom, gives different responsibilities and gives different obligations to men and women in certain things. But in terms of their standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're equal. In terms of receiving reward for their good deeds, in terms of being obligated to have iman, and all these other factors. Right? وَاسْأَلُوا بِهَمْزَةٍ وَدُونِهَا. Yani the hamza can be there, or sometimes it's omitted. وَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِ, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from His grace. Right? وَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِ, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from His grace, from His bounty. مَحْتَجْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ, ask Him whatever you need. يُعْتِكُمْ, He will give it to you. Right? Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whatever you need, He will give it to you. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمًا, truly Allah is all aware of everything. وَمِنْهُ مَحَلُّ الْفَضْلِ, and from all the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows is مَحَلُّ الْفَضْلِ, yani who's deserving of that fadl, who's deserving of that grace and bounty. وَسُؤَالُكُمْ, and He knows your question as well. And in a hadith is mentioned, مَنْ لَمْ يَسْأَلِ اللَّهِ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ غَضِبَ عَلَيْهِ, whoever does not ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from His infinite bounty and grace, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes upset with that person. Meaning we are encouraged to ask. We should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much and as frequently as possible. In another hadith, أَنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى لَا يُمْسِكْ الْخَيْرَ الْكَثِيرِ مِنْ عَبْدِهِ, that perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala withholds a lot of good from His servant. وَيَقُولُ, and He says, لَا أُعْطِي عَبْدِي حَتَّى يَسْأَلَنِي, I will not give to my servant until he asks me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves to be asked by His ibad, by His servants. So this is a very important verse that's highlighting that we should not be covetous, we should not be envious, we should not be jealous of what other people have in terms of deen and dunya. And rather we should turn to Allah and ask Him to give us from His infinite bounty and His infinite grace. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues, وَلِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مَوَالِيَ مِمَّا تَرَكَ الْوَالِدَانِ وَالْأَقْرَبُونَ وَالَّذِينَ عَقَدَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ فَآتُوهُمْ نَصِيبَهُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدًا. And we have appointed heirs to what has been left by parents and next of kin. As for those you have made a pledge to, give them their share. Surely Allah is a witness over all things. So وَلِكُلٍّ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ, for everyone, both men and women, جَعَلْنَا مَوَالِيَ, we have made heirs, we have appointed heirs, those who are going to inherit. عَصَبَةً يُعْطَوْنَ, relatives that will be given. مِمَّا تَرَكَ الْوَالِدَانِ وَالْأَقْرَبُونَ, from what parents and relatives have left behind. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already identified and clarified who the heirs are going to be. Those categories of people that will inherit from parents and relatives. لَهُم مِّنَ الْمَالِ. Right. وَالَّذِينَ عَاقَدَتْ. So here Imam al-Suyuti is using a different qira'ah. And this is a qira'ah where the verb is min babil mufa'ala. عَاقَدَتْ, from the verb عَاقَدَ. And the qira'ah that we're used to uses verb form number 1, عَقَدَ. Yani وَالَّذِينَ عَقَدَتْ. And that is the qira'ah we are used to. So وَالَّذِينَ عَاقَدَتْ بِأَلِفٍ وَدُونِهَا. That's what he's highlighting. It can be recited with an alif, عَاقَدَتْ, or without it, عَقَدَتْ. أَيْمَانُكُمْ. Right? As for those with whom you have made a pledge. As for those you have made a pledge to. Right? And this is a pledge that's referring to what people will do before Islam. Right? Before Islam, some families or some people might enter into like this bond of brotherhood with them, or this agreement with them, that if someone fights you, I got your back, and you will inherit from me as well. They become like family. So they're saying if you made that type of agreement or covenant or pledge with someone, then give them their share of inheritance, which was 1/6. So وَالَّذِينَ عَاقَدَتْ بِأَلِفٍ وَدُونِهَا أَيْمَانُكُمْ جَمْعُ يَمِينٍ. Right? Ayman is the plural of the word yamin. بِمَعْنَى الْقَسَمِ, which means an oath. أو اليد, it can also mean hand, because usually when you take an oath, you use your right hand. الحلفاء الذين عاهدتموهم في الجاهلية على النصرة والإرث. Who is this referring to? Right? Who are these people with whom you have made a pledge? They are the ones, your hulafa, your allies, that you made a pledge with during the times of Jahiliyyah upon assistance and inheritance. You entered this agreement with them during the times of Jahiliyyah that if anyone attacks you or fights you, we got your back, and if either of us pass away, we're going to inherit from each other. فَآتُوهُمُ الْآنَ نَصِيبَهُم. Now give them their share, حَظَّهُم مِّنَ الْمِيرَاثِ, their portion, their share from the inheritance, وَهُوَ السُّدُسِ, and that is 1/6. But as Imam Suyuti highlights, وَهَذَا مَنْسُوخ. Right, this ruling has been abrogated. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدًا. Surely Allah is a witness over all things. مُطَّلِعًا. He's aware of all things. وَمِنْهُ حَالُكُمْ. And amongst all the things that He's aware of is your particular condition, your state. وَهَذَا مَنْسُوخ. And this particular ruling that's mentioned here about giving your hulafa, your allies, those you have made a pledge to, a portion of your inheritance, has been abrogated by the statement وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَى بِبَعْضٍ. That when it comes to ulul arham, when it comes to close relatives, they are more entitled than others. Now go ahead and read for us the next page followed by the first paragraph. Bismillah.
الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. الصالحات قانتات حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله. واللاتي تخافون نشوزهن فعظوهن واهجروهن في المضاجع واضربوهن فإن أطعنكم فلا تبغوا عليهن سبيلا إن الله كان عليا كبيرا. وإن خفتم شقاق بينهما فابعثوا حكما من أهله وحكما من أهلها إن يريدا إصلاحا يوفق الله بينهما إن الله كان عليما خبيرا. واعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا وبذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين والجار ذي القربى والجار الجنب والصاحب بالجنب وابن السبيل وما ملكت أيمانكم إن الله لا يحب من كان مختالا فخورا. الذين يبخلون ويأمرون الناس بالبخل ويكتمون ما آتاهم الله من فضله وأعتدنا للكافرين عذابا مهينا. قال رحمه الله: الرجال قوامون مسلطون على النساء يؤدبونهن ويأخذون على أيديهن بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض بتفضيله لهم عليهن بالعلم والعقل والولاية وغير ذلك وبما أنفقوا عليهن من أموالهم. فالصالحات منهن قانتات مطيعات لأزواجهن حافظات للغيب أي لفروجهن وغيرها في غيبة أزواجهن بما حفظهن الله حيث أوصى عليهن الأزواج. واللاتي تخافون نشوزهن عصيانهن لكم بأن ظهرت أماراته فعظوهن فخوفوهن الله واهجروهن في المضاجع اعتزلوا إلى فراش آخر إن أظهرن النشوز واضربوهن ضربا غير مبرح إن لم يرجعن بالهجران. فإن أطعنكم فيما يراد منهن فلا تبغوا تطلبوا عليهن سبيلا طريقا إلى ضربهن ظلما إن الله كان عليا كبيرا فاحذروه أن يعاقبكم إن ظلمتموهن.
This next verse of Surah Al-Nisa, verse number 34, is a very important verse which initially highlights the structure of a family within the framework of Islam. That within the framework of Islam, the family unit is very important. The family unit is considered to be very significant because it is the building block of a community, which is the building block of society. So if the family unit is healthy, is sound, is wholesome, is built upon the principles and foundations of the Quran and the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ, it will be healthy and wholesome. And that will lead to a healthy and wholesome community and society. So it talks about the structure of the family, right? The family structure. Then it talks about what happens if there is some sort of dispute or disagreement between a husband and a wife, particularly in the case where the wife is being recalcitrant or is being very objectionable. That what are the steps to be taken to rectify that situation and to bring back peace within the home. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts by saying, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. Men are caretakers of women, since Allah has made some of them excel the others, and because of the wealth they have spent. Another translation, men are the caretakers of women, as men have been provisioned by Allah over women and tasked with supporting them financially. Another translation, husbands should take good care of their wives with the bounties Allah has given to some more than others, and with what they spend out of their own money. So the beginning part of this verse is referring to this concept of al-qiwama, of the husband being qawwam. Now it has been translated in several different ways. So for example, Mufti Taqi, hafidahullah, he translates it as, men are caretakers of women. الرجال قوامون على النساء, men are caretakers of women. Another translation says, men are the upholders and maintainers of women. So they translate the word qawwamuna with two words, upholders and maintainers. Another translation, men are the protectors and maintainers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing men as qawwamun. And each of these English translations is trying its best to convey a comprehensive meaning of the word qawwam. So qawwamuna is the plural, is the jama' of the word qawwam, which is translated again as caretaker, custodian, guardian, maintainer. Right? And similar to other words in the Arabic language, these translations don't capture the actual essence of the word because they're all under-inclusive. And that happens often with the Arabic language. That the Arabic language is very eloquent, it's very profound, it's very deep. One single word can convey several different shades of meaning. One single word in the Arabic language oftentimes can convey a spectrum of meanings. And because of that, it's hard to translate it exactly into the English language. So Al-Wahidi, rahimahullah, he writes that Al-Qawwam means one who does their utmost to provide and support. Right? Qawwam is one who puts forth their best effort. They do their utmost to provide and support. So a man in the relationship of a marriage, a man is expected to exert their best effort in providing and taking care of the affairs of the women in their family, particularly their wives. That's what it means to be qawwam. They have to put forth their best effort in providing and taking care of the affairs of the women in their family. Ibn Ashur rahimahullah writes, the qawwam is the one who supports, takes care of, looks after, and rectifies the affairs of something. So he is the one who's in charge of the household. Right? In terms of like leadership, if you were to structure the family as a organization or as a company, at the head of the household is the husband, the one who's doing, taking care of all the affairs. Being the qawwam is not some sort of right or privilege. And that is a very important point to understand. To a lot of people's modern sensibilities, particularly by those who might have been influenced by liberal thought and liberal ideology, they might project their internal biases upon the Quran and find this something difficult to understand. That why are men the qawwam? So being the qawwam is not some sort of right, that's not some sort of privilege that gives man unjust and unfair authority or power over women, or that the man is somehow inherently better than a woman, as mentioned above. Right? It also does not mean that a woman cannot take care of herself. Rather, it is understood as a huge responsibility that a man is required to assume within the structure of the family. This is a requirement from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a burden of responsibility placed on the shoulders of a man, that they are the qawam, they are the caretakers, they are the maintainers, they are the guardians, they are the protectors. And that is why the scholars, they conceptualize being a qawam as a right women are entitled to within a relationship and not a male privilege. And that's a very, very beneficial way of understanding this concept and of looking at it. That it is a right of women, it is a right that women are entitled to within a relationship of marriage, and it's not a male privilege. That a man is required by the Sharia to take care of those under their care financially, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. As the Prophet ﷺ said, a man is responsible for his family. So, الرِّجَالُ قَوَّامُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ, that men are caretakers of women. Men are the caretakers, the guardians, the providers, the supporters of women. Right? بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ, as men have been provisioned by Allah over women, since Allah has made some of them excel the others. So here Imam al-Suyuti rahimahullah, he explains it according to the sensibilities of his time and his place. So he says, الرِّجَالُ قَوَّامُونَ مُسَلَّطُونَ, they are placed in a position of authority. They are placed in a position of power, عَلَى النِّسَاء, over women. يُؤَدِّبُونَهُنَّ, they discipline and educate them. وَيَأْخُذُونَ عَلَى أَيْدِيهِنْ, and they guide them. بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ, since Allah has made some of them excel the others. بِتَفْضِيلِهِ لَهُمْ عَلَيْهِنَّ, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala making the males excel over women in terms of ilm and aql and wilaya وغير ذلك, right? In terms of knowledge and intellect and guardianship and other things as well. وَبِمَا أَنْفَقُوا عَلَيْهِنْ, and because of the wealth they have spent, and because they are tasked with supporting them financially, right? وَبِمَا أَنْفَقُوا عَلَيْهِنْ, and with what they have spent upon them, مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ, from their wealth. فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ, so the righteous women are obedient and guard the property and honor of their husbands in their absence with the protection given by Allah. Righteous women are devoutly obedient and when alone protective of what Allah has entrusted them with. Right? So فَالصَّالِحَاتْ مِنْهُنْ, as-salihat, righteous women. Right? And righteous women. قَانِتَاتٌ, قَانِتَاتٌ means مُطِيعَاتٌ لِأَزْوَاجِهِنْ, they are devoutly obedient. And here Imam Suyuti clarifies, they are obedient to their husbands. حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ, right? حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ, they guard, they protect the property and honor of their husbands in their absence. So حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ أي لِفُرُوجِهِنَّ وَغَيْرِهَا فِي غَيْبَةِ أَزْوَاجِهِنْ. So حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ, they safeguard or they are protective, لِلْغَيْبِ, for what is hidden, أي لِفُرُوجِهِنْ, and their chaste, their private parts, وَغَيْرِهَا, and other things, فِي غَيْبَةِ أَزْوَاجِهِنْ, when their husbands are in the absence of their husbands, when their husbands are absent. بِمَا حَفِظَهُنَّ اللَّهِ, right? With what? Allah, with the protection that Allah has given to them. With the protection that Allah has given to them. حَيْثُ أَوْصَى عَلَيْهِنَّ الْأَزْوَاجِ, right? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, أَوْصَى عَلَيْهِنَّ الْأَزْوَاج, has told the men to guard and protect them. وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ فَعِذُوهُنَّ وَهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ, and if you sense ill conduct from your women, right? As for women of whom you fear rebellion, advise them first. If they persist, do not share their beds. But if they still persist, then discipline them gently. But if they change their ways, right? فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا, if they change their ways, do not be unjust to them. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيًّا كَبِيرًا, surely Allah is most high and all great. So now here, at the end of this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is highlighting this concept of an-nushuz, nashiza, when the wife is, in English, the term they say recalcitrant, does not respect and is, just creating conflict and is, totally being non-cooperative and is not fulfilling her responsibilities and is not giving her husband his rights. So an-nushuz, it's been explained in several different ways, and one of the ways that it is explained is what I just mentioned, in terms of being totally, completely uncooperative, right? Being recalcitrant. So here he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or Imam Suyuti writes, وَاللَّاتِ تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنْ. Right? As for those women of whom you fear rebellion. Right? For whom you fear rebellion. عِصْيَانُهُنَّ لَكُمْ. Right? You fear that they're going to disobey you and go against you. بِأَنْ ظَهَرَتْ أَمَارَةُ. That its signs start appearing. And again, what this means in this context is that she's being totally, completely uncooperative. Is just making life difficult for no reason whatsoever. Is expressing hatred, is expressing enmity, is not fulfilling her responsibilities, is not fulfilling your rights, etc. Right? So then there is a process that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given guidance for, of how to rectify the affairs and how to bring things back to a state of normalcy. That first and foremost, فَعِذُوهُنَّ. Advise them. Right? Advise them. Convince them. فَخَوِّفُوهُنَّ اللَّهِ. Right? Instill the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within them. Right? Instill the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say, لِي عَلَيْكِ حَقٌّ. That, I have some rights upon you. فَاتَّقِ اللَّهِ فِي. Right? So be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding them. So فَعِذُوهُنَّ. Advise them. That, this is not the way we should be living. This is not what we should be doing. We should try to make it work out, etc., etc. فَخَوِّفُوهُنَّ اللَّهِ. Right? Instill the fear of Allah within them. وَهْجُرُهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. Right? If that doesn't work and they still persist in their nushuz, then abandon or do not share their beds. Right? Leave them apart in beds. So وَهْجُرُهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ literally means abandon or boycott their beds. اعتزلوا إلى فراش آخر إن أظهرنا النشوز. Right? اعتزلوا. Right? Go ahead and move to another bed if they keep showing that nushuz. Then if that doesn't work, وَضْرِبُوهُنْ. Now this is something that, again, according to modern sensibilities, particularly those who have been influenced again by Western liberal secular thought, might find to be very hard to digest or to understand, and na'udhu billah might find, quote unquote, to be problematic. So for a more detailed discussion of this particular verse and of this particular topic and how to make sense of it, I would encourage you to watch this video on our YouTube channel. It was a lecture on this verse discussed by Dr. Jonathan Brown. It's about an hour long. He does an excellent job of discussing this verse in detail, particularly this portion, وَضْرِبُوهُنْ. And I also read this portion from his book called Misquoting Muhammad regarding this topic, which from what I remember, he does a fairly comprehensive job as well. So for those of you who want to unpackage and untie some of the preconceived notions you might have regarding this because of the environment we live in and because of our way of being nurtured and upbringing, and you really want to make sense of this, I would encourage you to look at those two sources, inshallah. So وَضْرِبُوهُنَّ, right? ضَرَبَ يَضْرِبُ literally means to strike, and the best translation that I came across is discipline. Right? Discipline them gently. ضَرْبًا غَيْرَ مُبَرِّحٍ. Right? A darb, a strike that does not leave any mark, that does not cause any pain whatsoever. So it's like a symbolic gesture of discipline. Right? A symbolic gesture of discipline. إِن لَمْ يَرْجِعْنَ بِالْهِجْرَانِ. If they don't stop their nushuz after having abandoned them in their beds. So again, Imam Suyuti is showing that there's tartib here. There's a sequence. That first advise them. If that doesn't work, then don't share a bed with them. If that doesn't work, then discipline them. ضَرْبًا غَيْرَ مُبَرِّحٍ. Right? A form of discipline that's very gentle, that does not cause any type of pain whatsoever, that does not leave a mark whatsoever. A symbolic type of discipline. فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ. And now if they come back to you, obedience. فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ. If they change their ways. فِي مَا يُرَادُ مِنْهُنْ. In terms of what is required from them. in terms of fulfilling their responsibilities within the marriage. فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا تَطْلُبُوا. Then don't look for any way upon them unjustly. Right? Don't be unjust to them. Do not seek a way against them. طَرِيقًا إِلَى ضَرْبِهِنَّ ظُلْمًا. Right? Don't seek some way to make an excuse to do anything wrong. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيًّا كَبِيرًا. Surely Allah is the highest and the greatest. فَاحْذَرُوهُ. Beware of Allah. أَنْ يُعَاقِبَكُمْ إِنْ ظَلَمْتُمُوهُنْ. Right? فَاحْذَرُوهُ. Beware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be mindful of Allah so that He doesn't punish you if you do wrong to your wives. If you do dhulm, if you are unjust and unfair and do anything wrong to your wives, remember, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيًّا كَبِيرًا, that truly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the highest and the greatest. So it is important for us to understand again the whole concept of the family structure within Islam, and that's a whole topic for another lecture. And our purpose again of this class is to go through the text of Jalalayn and to understand the text and to use it as a basis and foundation for furthering our Tafsir studies. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq, the ability to understand what we're studying. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this a means of increasing our understanding of the Quran, our love for the Quran. May the Quran be a proof for us and not a proof against us. And alhamdulillah, we have reached till the end of verse number 34. So in our next lesson, we will pick up from verse number 35. وَصَلِّ اللَّهُمَّ عَلَى نَبِيِّنَا مَوْلَانَا مُحَمَّدٍ وَعَلَى آلِهِ وَصَحْبِهِ وَسَلِّمْ. جزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.